Well, hello. I hopefully you can hear me. Say hello if you can hear me. How are you? It's been a very long time since I've been here. I hope you're all doing very, very well. Yeah, I thought I'd come on because we've had a video drop today and I haven't had, things have been going crazy for me. So I thought what I would do is we would have a look at the YouTube video. I know that she's been in court today because, of course, she couldn't stop talking about it. So we're going to find out. I mean, without reading all the documents, I haven't read them yet, but I will do. We'll get there. I'm hoping things are going to settle down. I mean, yeah, it's just been crazy for me. Hello. It's just been very crazy for me, and things are not going to get any easier, I don't think, because I've got to sort out my car situation as well. So that's everything's going wrong. But anyway, so we have a video that's been dropped. So let's have a look, because there's been a whole pile of stuff that's happened since I've been absent, and I keep meaning to talk about it, but we'll talk about it at some other time. So we've got a lot of stuff here, because I think, from my memory, we were down here somewhere. But see, because there was an order to vote, notice of filing, findings and order, responsive motion, there's an affidavit, a cover sheet for non-public documents. Then there's more documents, another motion, then we've got the hearing that was held in person, the notice of hearing, another motion, memorandum affidavit, another order, interim brief under advisement. So there was a hearing. And then the next here, and then it says notice of remote hearing with instructions, which is very interesting. So does that mean the next one is a remote hearing, is it? Let's have a look. Just briefly, sorry, I didn't show it to you after all of that. I'm out of practice. Share this tab instead. Hello, Bella Marie. So we've got here, yeah, so on April 3rd, 2026, it's a motion hearing. And it says they are, does it say, you are expected to appear fully prepared. All right, so it looks like it's, April's the next hearing at this point in time. So that's very interesting. Look, they go on forever. They take ages. The court takes forever. And, this is the furthest that she's ever been, by the way, in something. So I'm just going to unshare this, and then I'm going to come back in, because the audio is not going to share, and I want the audio to share, because I want to watch this video. Now, what's really interesting, and I'll just show you something here. I find this to be very, very interesting. Unhinged demand out of Blake Lively's playbook, right? Unhinged demands. I'm very interested to see what this is about. Now, remember, they all had to appear in person today. They all had to appear in person. That meant that she had to appear in person as well. And she forgets all of that. So they all would have been there. I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall. I really would have loved to have been a fly on the wall, to be fair. It would have been absolutely fascinating. All right, we're going to share the audio. Hopefully this works. Please let me know if this works. So she says, so let's see what she's written first. So we'll pull this in. I'm going to do a view.
I just wanted to tell her story so much. But my favorite set, I mean, it was definitely Lily Bloom's. That set is.
So, that's the wrong one. Did you hear that? If you heard that, then we're okay. Now, the interesting thing about this is that she has actually decided.
I know a lot of
She has.
you really don't care about the drama and just see right.
Okay. She says Robert Shinn, along with Miranda and James Derrick, came out of hiding to show up in the Minnesota court. During a hearing this morning, their attorney accused me of being dangerous and destroying their lives. Their attorney also claimed with a straight face that I have never sources for my reporting. That makes no sense, Katie Joy. Well, this is my response as they attempt to play the Blake Lively game and say this is an ongoing smear campaign. Please help out with our legal fees. Only donate if you wish. Our fees to defend this lawsuit have exceeded $200,000. Hello, Plan to Create. How are you going? By the way, I went, just before we start this, I went to my medical trial appointment today. I've now officially lost 19 kilos. I'm down 4 dress sizes. And I'm just over halfway. So potentially, I have slowed down a bit. I mean, this month was a slowdown because working with the dietitian, we're starting our maintenance. So that means I'm starting to come off the meal replacements and eat normal foods. So, I mean, that changes things a little bit, and everything like that as well. So there's all of that to take into account. So I possibly, technically, I would like probably another 10. And I think if I could lose another 10, I think that would be great. I put another 10 would get down to my goal weight. But yeah, that's pretty good. But see, I don't know whether I'm on the drug. I don't know whether I've got the placebo. It's what they call a double-blind trial. So only the person that packaged up my medication actually knows what I'm on. So, and interestingly enough, my cholesterol has come down. It was at 7 or something. It's down to 4, and everything that was high risk is now in the safe spot. So hopefully you can hear all that. So here is, look, and she says here, without a crystal ball is a commentary channel. The views expressed by Katie Joy, her opinions are should not be considered fact. She's just put this in. Katie Joy discusses trending topics, current affairs, reality TV, and more. This channel is for your entertainment. Please make sure you conduct your own research on any topics to verify information. She has added that, I reckon, all clips obtained through TRC, YouTube, and used under fair use. And then she's put in here. So isn't that very interesting that she's now added this this disclaimer on all her videos? Please help with our legal fees, she says. Without a crystal ball has been legendary in her reporting. Yeah, whatever. I think this suppression of independent reporting needs to stop. If it's a public story online, then they have no case. Katie, can you sue when he's found guilty? Guilty of what? So there's somebody that's made a donation. I hope this is over for you sooner than later. It's ridiculous for me that a lawyer would go as far to say that anything you say or report which is protected can and will be used against you. Well, you still have to give your sources. It doesn't give you a free rein. It doesn't give you a free rein. And let me tell you, many reporters have had to hand over their stuff. I cannot believe Miranda's still in. I hope you win. I hope it's all of that. So anyway, all right. So let's have a look. Having not kept up with this lawsuit, I don't know what's been filed and what hasn't. I do know that they had to redo their claim, which, again, the judge has given permission for that, so she can't talk about that. Sometimes the judge will tell them to go back and rework it. Remember, it's about fairness and justice. So, all right, let's have a look.
through all the craziness, which is so amazing. But yeah, there's also a lot of you who have been fake reporting, and every little thing I say or do is being analyzed and reviewed under a microscope. So I'm here to report the truth and just dive in.
At that point, we knew she was in a cult. All of the dancers that are currently in, all of the members that are still in, they are all victims.
Victims of what? I'm going to speed this up because I already know. I have not actually given her a thought for ages, actually. And I apologise for that. Alright, let's go here.
Hi besties, welcome back to my channel. Well,
Does she call everybody besties? As I said, I haven't watched her for ages and ages and ages. Absolutely not. Oh, here we go. So I hopefully will be able to, we'll come back on again in a couple of days' time, and we can look at this again. We'll look at some of the court documents.
this morning I had to attend a court hearing because I was ordered to attend a pretrial hearing for a lawsuit that's been filed against me in the state of Minnesota related to my reporting on a pastor slash business owner named Robert Shin and his church, Shekinah Church, and his management company, 7M, along with dancers that have been impacted and have spoken out in a Netflix series about Robert Shin. Robert Shin is suing me and claims that I have alleged falsehoods against him. He claims.
Okay. So she had to go to court and they had to be in court. So she actually left the house today. Interesting.
Claims that I've defamed him by reporting on public stories happening on Instagram. He claims that I have defamed him by publicly reporting on court records. And his attorney today told the court that she needs to protect him from me. In court, his attorney also told the judge that I have never cited any sources or provided any information for where I get my information, which is categorically false. In fact,
Interestingly, remember, she was supposed to hand over that information. Say hi. Hello, Adiz and Alia. Hello, how are you? She was supposed to give that information out. So if she hasn't actually revealed that information, I can see why. Say hi. That banging's my son. He can't do what normal people do and use a knife to get the coffee grounds out. He's got to bang it and wait and annoy everybody. So I apologize.
In fact, my observation from sitting in court today was that this was not about defamation. Honestly, I felt more like it was about chilling the speech of an independent journalist, chilling the speech of someone that's concerned about the public being impacted by someone that could or could not have allegations against them.
Have we ascertained that she's a journalist? Here's my first question.
Defaming anyone, not accusing him of anything, because I haven't been part of his church. I've never been in his proximity until today. I didn't realize how short he was until today. I didn't realize that he was not much taller than me until today.
Oh no! He's not very scared. I thought she was a journalist.
I didn't realize that he looks very much his age of 67 or 68 years old. I didn't know until today that his wife is a lot younger than him. I knew it on paper, but seeing them face
Hang on. She didn't know until today that his wife was a lot younger than him, even though she'd seen it on paper. Hello, Rampula Paulie.
until today. I didn't realize how short he was until today. I didn't realize that he was not much taller than me until today. I didn't realize that he looks very much his age of 67 or 68 years old. I didn't know until today that his wife is a lot younger than him. I knew it on paper, but seeing them face to face, it was very obvious because she's my age. I also saw Miranda Derrick and James Derrick in the flesh. They deleted their Instagrams last summer, or they deactivated them and deleted their TikTok. Today's hearing was about spoliating of evidence because we are concerned that they have deleted evidence that would be helpful to my defense. And
oh dear. So what's she going to say about them?
and their removal of their social media, they have told the court, is because I am the problem and I'm harassing them because I have been publicly covering a very widely publicized story about a pastor in California named Robert Shin. If you haven't seen the Netflix docuseries Dancing for the Devil, the 7M TikTok Cult, the series was made in connection with Dirty Robbers and WVE Entertainment with Wilmer Valderrama, and it featured family members of individuals inside, including Kelly and Dean Wilking, Melanie Wilking, who you saw in the very beginning of this video, former members that were dancers, Kylie Douglas, Aubrey Fisher, Kevin Davis, his girlfriend Kalia, who was not a dancer but was a videographer that was within this church.
Remember, she's focusing on the 7M part. It's 7M, the dance group that's suing, not the church. And it is my opinion that if that Shekinah Church, 7M case could be rather strong because Shekinah is not a party to it. So it gets very, very messy. It's very messy. And if you remember, one of the judge has actually identified that, you know, Shekinah is absolutely, all the allegations are against Shekinah, are about Shekinah. And 7M is not, is not Shekinah Church. So that for me is still their strongest part of their case. And so by combining them, I mean, she has to actually prove that there is a link other than the fact that they have the same people attend. You know, just because I attend a whole pile of football matches for different clubs doesn't mean that I'm associated with all of those groups. Or just because I have a membership to something doesn't mean that, you know, it's a very, very grey area, in my opinion.
You also heard from two sisters, Melanie and Priscilla, one who left the church in 2011 and another who left in the spring of 2020.
See, now she's talking about the church part. This is the bit that I believe she can talk about, the church part. But the dance part is a completely different entity. So she's talking about Priscilla and Melanie. Remember, neither of them were part of 7M. Neither of them were part of 7M. They were part of the church. And they sold real estate. Or one of them sold real estate. 7M wasn't a real estate company.
Me too. There were the Wilkins, Kelly and Dean Wilking, along with Nicholas Riano's parents that were featured as well. And there was a woman that appeared on camera, but her face was blurred. And that's just a small percentage of the individuals that were included. They shared their stories of their experiences within this church in the series. Separately, and as a part of that series, you see that a group of them got together to sue Robert. You also in the series see that 3 of the women filed police reports against Robert for SA or battery. At no time in my reporting have I accused Robert of doing anything to me. He has never essayed me. He's never physically harmed me.
Well, hang on. Hasn't she accused him of sending people after her?
He has really only just been in court accusing me of things that I haven't done, in my opinion, to silence me. And in court today, it was interesting because I felt like I was in the Baldoni and Blake Lively case where his attorneys attempted to claim that anything that I say publicly moving forward, they will use against me. They will claim that my defamation for speaking about a public story is ongoing.
And this, for me, doing this video, in my opinion, is asking for trouble. Unless, remember, she's only giving her side. For fair reporting, you need to show both sides. So where's all the things that she said to the court? She's only focusing on how they're painting her.
I have, again, never accused Robert Shin of anything. I've only reported on what others have shared. I've pointed you to the Netflix series. I helped and worked on the Netflix series as an archival consultant, providing legal documents and references and legal records.
Hang on. So what about all the waterboarding allegations? When she said that, or she's accused him of R-ing and
document the claims that were made. Robert is being sued in California by a group, and that group is accusing him of counts of human trafficking. There's forced labor accusations. There are allegations of coercion, unjust enrichment, breaches of some sort of implied covenant or a contract. And I'm just going off the top of my head here. But since his attorneys told a judge today in Minnesota that I don't provide sources or have never provided sources, let me just read to you a few pieces of information about this lawsuit.
And remember that reading from a lawsuit doesn't make it fact. She flat out called him a serial rapist. I think she did, didn't she? Because this is, remember, whenever you read particularly a civil document, it's always going to paint one party in a good light and the other party in a bad light. So this is the lawsuit that the people have written against Robert Shin. So this is going to paint Robert Shin in a bad light. It's and this is why we have judges, and this is what we have courts for. They've got to take all the documentation and all the facts and try to put together what's actually happened. So if we then so of course this is going to paint him in a bad light. The only source documents, for example, so in Australia, the only things that we can use that are court judgments are referred to as source documents. Everything else is essentially hearsay. If the judge has done it, then you quote the judge. So this has not been proven either way.
Factual allegations state that Robert refers to himself as the man of God and preaches to Shekinah members that without submitting to him and without Shekinah, their lives will be cursed. Robert required full physical and economic and control over Shekinah members.
Remember, this is their point of view and their opinion, okay? I'm not saying that it's true. I'm not saying that it's not true, but you have to be very, very careful using these civil documents as fact. Now, what I can say about the Katie Joy case is that the judge did state as fact that whether she was a journalist was untested and had not been proven in a court. That is a fact because it's come from the judge. So, yes, of course they're going to say all these bad things about Robert. So relying on this type of information to say that it's fact is, she said it's factual allegations. She needed to say alleged factual allegations because according to, for this group of people, this is their facts. Remember, there are 3 sides to every story. Their side, the other party's side, and the truth. And the truth is usually somewhere in the middle.
They allege he exerted this control directly and through members of Shekinah that were referred to as mentors, and then those mentors are named, which include Hannah, Matthew, and Isaiah Shin, Shirley Kim, Chloe Shin, and Daniel Joseph. And then he has sub-mentors that they claim are a part of this, which is like Jenny, Chrissy, Abe, and Lemuel. They claim that Robert's wife was referred to as the woman of God. Cross-defendant Shirley Kim was considered the woman of God through 2009. And in 2010, Hannah became the woman of God. This title gave Shirley and Hannah certain privileges among Shekinah members that no one else had. They allege that his mentors and deputies did his bidding, including collecting tithes of other members, moving money from members' bank accounts, instructing members where to live, and instructing members on how to spend nearly every waking moment of their time. They allege that women and men were kept separate most of the time and had separate Bible meetings almost every day. Shekinah members attended sermons by Robert on Wednesdays and Sundays. He would preach that members should tell him everything, even things that they would not tell their own wife or husband. They allege that Robert...
And again, this is not unusual. I have to say, this is not necessarily unusual, because there's sometimes men's Bible studies and women's Bible studies, because women don't want to talk about certain issues in front of men, and men don't want to talk about. That's where you can have some really good in-depth conversations about things. It happens a lot in churches. They'll have men's Bible study and women's Bible study. I mean, you know.
Lives a life of luxury from the tithes he collects from Shekinah members. Most of his wealth was built on the backs of free labor or excessive fees from Shekinah members, including cross-complainants. Meanwhile, most of these cross-complainants worked on small monthly allowances, were only allowed to eat food provided by Shekinah, and were only allowed to make purchases approved by Shekinah. Many had secondhand or were gifted other items by Shekinah, Robert, or other mentors. All of the Shekinah cross-complainants were required to give 10% of their income to Shekinah, a tithe that Robert and the mentors told them would support the church. In calling this donation 10% of tithe, Robert and the mentors implied this money would be used to support the church, such as through maintenance of church buildings, funding church programs, or supporting other members in the religious institutions. If they did not give their tithes, Robert yelled at them or threatened consequences. Robert encouraged them to give more than 10% by saying the more that you give, the more you'll receive. Tithe is the minimum. You must one day get to a place, give all of your money, time, and body and heart. Robert said this frequently during sermons, and in 2022, this changed to Tuesday nights and Saturday. Among things that he would tell them are, if you don't tithe, you will not go to heaven. God hates people that don't tithe, therefore you are cursed and God cannot protect you from harm. If you tithe, you are a child of Satan, therefore you are demonic. Submit all your finance to your assignment.
Right, as I said, I don't know any of this because I haven't been there. And this is what they've said. But I mean, I hope they've got evidence of all of this.
They allege these statements were made once or twice a week in sermons. So with all the money that they were getting, which they claim was 30% of their income, 10% tithe, 10% in cash to Robert, a man of God, which they believe he did not report as income, and misclassifying it as a donation, and then including mentors, Matthew and Shirley told Shekinah members that they had to give the man of God a cash box, 10% of more strictly in cash, and an additional 10% offering. He stated multiple times in service that those who are committed to God donate 100% of their income, and that was how one entered heaven. Robert and Shekinah would claim that the monetary donations were used to do God's work. Meanwhile, Robert and his mentors lived lavish lifestyles, and the tax documents provided to the members at the end of the year each year were inaccurate, missing thousands of dollars that were given to Robert and Shekinah. Hannah, who controlled the counts of many of the members, including Alicia Lee, would write checks to Shekinah and Robert, but the checks were never reflected in the members' tax return.
So, as I said, they're you know, they've got to show and prove all this. The only way they could do it is with a financial audit would sort that out. I just wish I wish today's hearing had been recorded or videoed or something, because I actually would have liked to have been able to have watched it live. That would have been really interesting. So she's going back to court documents to say, this is how I've said what I've said.
Returns or offerings. Now, that's like a very high level of it. And then each individual that's a part of this lawsuit has individual claims. Okay. And all of these are allegations. They have to be able to prove this at trial. Alicia Lee.
Didn't I just say that? Didn't I say they have to be able to prove it? They have to prove it all. You know? They have to be able to prove it. They have to be able to back it up. And remember, they're alleging Shekinah Church, but some of the allegations involved the I don't know how you separate the two the two I don't know how you separate both of them.
Who was featured in the documentary. It's the Dancing for the Devil, the 7M TikTok cult. Her allegations are heartbreaking if you take them as fact. So if you believe what she says and the evidence that she provides, it's heartbreaking for anyone to endure what she alleges happened to her. She alleges that her entire life was controlled, that he essentially controlled where she lived, controlled access to a car, controlled the food that she ate, controlled the jobs that she had because he was her employer. And then she also alleges that he coerced her into a relationship that was not consensual and that involved what she calls SA. Her counts against him include her being alleged.
So, see, now they're saying she was his employer. So, here's the thing. Yeah. I just would not have said anything, but she's got to get her money. She needs money.
To have been asked to have sex with another member in order for them to get access to something that other member had. I think it was something to do with music or something. I'm not totally sure. But each specific member has allegations, and a lot of these people's claims overlap one another in terms of like the same issues happening to each member, but different variations of the same thing, essentially. And within the lawsuit, they are being sued for fraud, promissory fraud, and human trafficking. So Alicia is actually alleging that Robert, Shirley, and Hannah and Shekinah trafficked her because she was denied liberty by them individually. They controlled her life, was extremely limited by them. Who exerted control over her finances, housing, food.
I just want to check something. So, according to the United Nations, okay. In fact, I'll go to modern slavery in Australia. I'm gonna use this site. So I'm just gonna do this. So in Australia, human trafficking or trafficking in persons is when people use coercion, threats, lies to move someone across or within borders so that can be exploited. Exploitation is when a person uses their power, control, or use someone else for personal or commercial benefit. In human trafficking, this exploitation takes different forms such as forced labour, forced marriage, sex exploitation, debt bondage, servitude, slavery. So, an action organises entry or exit of person. Hello, Michelle. Organises proposed entry of exit, receives person. Coercion, threat by means, and then purpose, slavery, and then for trafficking. Now, I thought that she got out of Shekinah. I thought she left the church, which doesn't. I don't know.
Food intake, sexual activity, jobs, and more. They claim she alleges she was coerced into performing services, having her liberty restrained by means of a plan or scheme enacted by them. She did not perform such. She believed and was told that if she did not obey them, she would be disobeying him and would suffer serious harm. She also alleges that when she tried to leave, his wife Hannah assaulted her physically. She has claims here of aiding and abetting human trafficking, forced labor, breach of voluntary armed fiduciaries, aiding and abetting intentional infliction of emotional distress. It goes on and on. There's gender violence in here, workplace harassment, aiding and abetting workplace harassment. And she went through the California Department of Labor. She filed a notice for a lawsuit. She went through the CRD and she got a right to sue notice. And then the others also went through their process and they've joined this lawsuit collectively. They were supposed to go to trial last summer. It got delayed. And so here we are today where he has an active case in California where a group of members are suing him.
Yes, but just because he's got an active case in California has nothing to do with the fact about you running your mouth and that. They're not related.
Alleging all of these things. He has denied these claims and he has filed he filed a lawsuit against them, essentially claiming that they stole his hard drive, some sort of allegations by Alicia, portraying this coercion, but he claims it was a consensual relationship. He filed the lawsuit after she had sent him a demand letter where she was seeking a settlement from him, which he denied. And that's a requirement in the state of California that's done before a lawsuit is filed. So here we are. And at the same time this was going on, he sues me for defamation. The documentary is made by Netflix. And in court today, I kept thinking, what sources don't I have?
What sources doesn't she have? I thought she had the Wilkins as a source. She's supposed to be besties with the Wilkins, isn't she? And isn't she supposed to, like, know all these people?
I'm telling you that there are allegations here. I am pointing to the people who have made them. I'm telling you the law documents that they are filed in, and I'm also telling you that he denies these allegations.
Yes, but what about the specific claims against that you've said about Miranda?
Correct? Correct. I felt like I was in bizarro world. Now, everything became a lot more escalated when in July of 2025, the federal government executed a raid on his property in Tujunga, California, which is outside of Los Angeles in the San Fernando Valley. Robert has told a court that I am the cause of the federal investigation, and yet somehow multiple agencies involved in this investigation I've never spoken to. So
again, as far as I have been able to find, there have been no charges laid. Is that correct? There's still no charges laid. You can have a raid on your house. They could turn up at my house with a search warrant and go through my house. But unless charges are laid.
So public reports from Los Angeles documented this raid. ABC7 shared video of their helicopter flying over. They received a statement from El Monte Police. The Los Angeles Times received a statement from the United States Postal Service alleging that this raid was being done by the IRS, the United States Postal Service inspections, the U.S. Department of Labor, and the FBI. And then the local police helped with SWAT for the raid. According to Robert's own attorneys in that lawsuit I just mentioned, his attorneys have told the court that 5 properties were raided, that 2 people in this case have received letters from the federal government stating one is a target and one is the subject. Further, on the date of the raid, $105,000 was seized from Robert Shinn by...
But Robert Shinn hasn't been charged.
By the United States Postal Service and seized under the civil law that the money was a byproduct of a criminal activity, a federal crime. And so it was subject to forfeiture. Robert is a target of a federal investigation per his own attorneys, and he has a forfeiture per his own attorneys. And then a public forfeiture notice was published on forfeiture.gov in the fall of 2025, documenting the seized money. Robert and his wife then petitioned and asked for their money back from the government, and the government declined. And so they filed a complaint, and they are going now through the process of going through court to see if they can get their money back. And so a claim was made on the money by both him and his wife, Hannah, both represented by separate attorneys, and they entered into a stipulated agreement with the federal government that the federal government will file a complaint in federal court, so a civil lawsuit of forfeiture, and/or file an indictment from a grand jury, and then fold the forfeiture into the indictment itself by April 6th of 2026. This is an agreed to stipulation between the United States Central District of California prosecuting U.S. attorneys and Shinn and his wife. All of that is documented. It's all sourced. And yet his attorney said that I have no sources for anything that I have said. A federal government posting a forfeiture notice also...
This is not the hill to die on, Cody, because, okay, You've ranted on about Robert Shinn, but what about Miranda and James?
Posting a joint stipulation, and then his own attorneys in California saying that multiple people have been subject of grand juries. There have been multiple grand jury subpoenas. There's an active grand jury into this case. A grand jury is the vehicle that the United States district attorneys use when they are working on their investigation to seek an indictment. Individuals can be subpoenaed, so personal people can be subpoenaed, but also the grand juries have subpoena powers, so they can get bank records, they can get tax records, they can ask witnesses to come in to testify. And these are all based upon reports that were made by people that have alleged that they were victims of crimes. Not by me, but people involved that are victims of this crime. I am not a victim of Robert Shinn. I cannot...
Did you hear that? She's not a victim of Robert Shinn. But hasn't she accused him of going after her and sending people? Aren't we all supposed to be minions of Robert Shinn?
Cause any of this to happen. So when the raid happened, ABC7 said the raid was related to an investigation into alleged sex trafficking and mail fraud and COVID-19 pandemic related fraud and tax evasion. So it was like a wide net that they were looking at, and 5 properties were raided. Robert is under investigation, and in a court today had his attorney tell a judge that I am a danger to them. Essentially, that's just me spitballing, but that I'm a threat to them because I have reported on this situation and I have accused him of sex crimes. I have not accused Robert Shin of any sex crime. Robert Shin has been accused.
Really? I think, and I'll show you, Miss Balls has actually got the receipts to prove that too, that what she's saying is not right.
Accused by other women of sex crimes, not me. Robert Shin has denied those allegations. I feel like I'm in a bizarro world right now where upside is down, left is right. And they have said that no matter what I do, any statements I make going forward will be part of the ongoing defamation against them. It almost feels like I'm in the Justin Baldoni case, and this is like the ongoing smear campaign, right? And they've now filed a new and amended complaint. They think they're going to add like 100 new statements I made. They're using statements that have been made in the last year. The problem is that Minnesota has a SLAPP law called anti-SLAPP. And so statements made after May 2024 are protected under the anti-SLAPP legislation.
Okay, so how does that work with her for trying to bring? Because remember, she in her documentation, she's talked about the raids, right? The raids happened well after the lawsuit was underway. So if they can't use latest statements, I don't see why she should be able to use latest evidence.
And so my First Amendment rights are being threatened, and Robert Shin has used the First Amendment to win other lawsuits or have other claims essentially dismissed against him because he has freedom of religion, right? There was a case against him by a woman named Lydia Chung. She was not successful due to statute of limitations, unclean hands, and there was issues about the First Amendment and how churches manage their churches and their funding.
Well, that's right. As far as I know, I mean, I haven't seen the latest documentations. I need to look at those. I'm hoping in the next couple of days to break down all the hundreds of documents that have been filed for this case. But as far as I am aware, and from what I've seen people talk about, I don't believe that she's still been confirmed as a journalist yet. I still believe the jury's out on that fact.
He denied any wrongdoing, but Lydia's lawsuit alleges many of the same issues that these other people have alleged against him. I'm not going to be silenced. I'm not going to be bullied. It was really difficult to be in a room with them, and it was difficult to see him. But now having seen him, I'm not scared of him. I'm not scared of his wife, and I'm certainly not scared of Miranda and James. I only would hope that Miranda and James can find happiness and get their careers back on track and do what they love, because I know that they both were doing what they loved before all of this went down. And I hope that Miranda and James also know that they are not under investigation by the federal government. And
so, okay, so is she just... But doesn't take away the fact that she slandered them, remember?
I truly hope that there's a resolution for the individuals impacted, so that if there are charges to be made and that an indictment can be sought, that it's obtained and that the people that are alleging that they have been harmed get justice. And I hope at some point in time, a judge in Minnesota will see that I've done nothing wrong and that I'm going to stick this out and I'm going to keep talking and I'm going to talk because it matters and I want to be an example to all of you. So I have my Venmo, my PayPal, and my Cash App. I'll share in links in the description in my pinned comment if you'd like to help with continued legal fees in this case. And I appreciate you listening today. And if you drop your thoughts below and make sure to give this video a thumbs up, make sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't.
Yeah, right. No, that's it. So it's a lot of nothing. There's a lot of nothing there because there's just a lot of. I thought they were happy. That's the thing. I thought they were happy. They were doing what they love to do, but people were just not letting her do it. All right, let's have a look here. I've not seen this for ages. Robert Shin, Miranda Derrick were in Minnesota today for a pre-trial hearing related to their lawsuit against me. Despite clear anti-SLAPP laws, his attorney told the judge that all my statements about the federal investigation will be deemed ongoing defamation. I won't be silenced or intimidated. I have done nothing wrong and will continue to report on the case. I am not the cause of the investigation, nor am I a danger. It's defamation to share public information from the FBI. Yeah. Someone says, need the details. I can't believe they showed up there. Well, they were ordered to. They were told they had to show up there. Why are people so shocked that people turn up to court because they have to turn up to court? They want me silenced. So anyway, let me go to my X account because, as I said, regarding my car, I haven't heard yet whether it's a write-off, but I'm having a lot of trouble finding a car in my budget because I'm not in a position to get a loan at the moment, so I'm a little bit stuck. I love that they want to be awarded all the money she made from defaming them. Yeah. Well, I mean, and that's the thing, right? They only have to be successful on one count. So, you know, they could lose a whole heap, but they'd only need one count. And I haven't seen what she said, but I don't know that she's put in even a valid defense, in my opinion. Okay, so okay, so I'm going to just go to Miss Ball's page here. So let's just... Because she said, in today's YouTube, Katie Drew states she's never accused Shin of you know what crimes. Okay? So this is the transcript. Court today told a judge, had his attorney tell the judge that I'm a danger to him, essentially just me spitballing. I'm a threat to him because I report on this. I have not accused Robert Shin of any sex crime. Robert Shin has been accused by other women. And then she shows this.
He's a serial rapist, okay? He's a serial rapist. He's a serial rapist, okay? He's a serial rapist.
So there you go. But she says, I've never done it. I've never done it. And then she says, she literally just said that she's never accused Robert of anything. As I said, yeah, I would love to watch the video evidence. I said it's going to be great. It's going to be quite interesting. Shin, KJ claims Shin has never done anything to her personally, never essayed her. She states that she's not scared of Shin. She wants M and J to know that they're not under investigation. KJ wants them to come back to social media. She says that she's never done anything wrong. She won't be silenced and doubles down. So they've got the motion hearing on the 3rd of April. So this was on the 6th of February. As I said, now that she does have a crystal ball, because all the information she's saying about where her sources came from, put out said info after she said all that. Yes, that's right. So she wants, so she can bully them. So this was Miss Ball's, as I said, I haven't seen the latest documentation, but it says, but the other crystal ball literally still thinks Robert Shin and I guess James Miranda won't show on Monday, and I believe this is categorically false. What I really think Katie Joy Paulson was hoping is that Miranda Derrick would get on her knees and thank WIACB for rescuing her from her Compton-born husband and beg KJ to return her to the authority of her parents, cause feminism. After KJ congratulated herself for finally rescuing one person from a cult, Miranda would come to her senses and drop the lawsuit against her. Robert Shinn would be arrested, and I guess James wouldn't even know Miranda left because he was too busy in church. None of that happened. Katie Joy has not been able to free Miranda, even though she made a promise to Kelly Wilking, and I think KJ is furious at Miranda. Furious Miranda has not thanked KJ from the bottom of her heart. Furious Miranda will not save Katie Joy from the evil clutches of Robert Shinn. Furious Miranda is not going to save the mother of medical fragile child who advocates for all women. It's Miranda's fault KJ is being sued. What Kelly, Dean, Melanie and KJ have failed to realise is that the Netflix documentary and the lawsuit against KJ has done the very opposite of what the merry band of daft punks intended. It's pushed Miranda further away, isolated her from everyone, gone dark on social media. It's pushed her closer to Shinn, and most likely, and they are too nearsighted in their selfish entitlement to see it. This is correct. KJ has not posted about the filings, and they were dated days ago, meaning she knew before the rest of us. She has been pretty silent on her IG, and I rarely check her YouTube, but you know she's stewing, and you know she's likely to open a bottle of booze to numb the fact that the 9th of February is basically here. Amber has all her posts made after 2022, where she stated for a fact that she knew Miranda was feeling and doing. Going back and reading them again has my balls on the floor. What she said to all, OMG, it's so bad, and you forget. I do feel KJ will try and get out of this. Stay tuned. So this was what Miss Balls posted on the 6th of February with the latest filings. So, so this was the notice of emotion. And in support of to amend complaint. So we'll look at this in further detail at some point. So the proposed amendments are made in compliance with the court's December order when they had to redo it. So they've had to redo the complaint as per the judge's instructions. So when she talks about the fact that they filed an amended complaint, they were told by the judge to do it. So it says, you know, one of their arguments is that there's no trial date set, and that's the thing. It's there's no trial date as long it's, you know, it's still going through that process. So interesting. The other thing is, interestingly, they want over $1 million now. So again, this is the amended complaint. And this is, I think, there was 80 pages to this. So this is where they're saying both have deleted their Instagram, TikTok, but deleting evidence is what Robert Shinn is known for. To be clear, no one outside the cult has heard from Miranda or James since the raid. This is following raid on the properties of Robert Shinn in July 2025. Robert and his associate are under federal investigation for both human trafficking and sex trafficking. We don't know. Robert Shinn has a long history of deleting evidence and scrubbing the internet when he faces scrutiny of scandal. Because dancers are known victims of alleged trafficking, their public profiles directly benefit Robert Shinn. Nearly all income derived from public social media posts and the dancers benefit Robert Shinn. Continuing to make content and videos would be the equivalent of committing crimes directly in the face of the FBI investigation. Either Robert is forcing the shutdown or the feds are. My gut says it's Robert. But to be clear, no one outside the cult has heard from Miranda or James in weeks. They have not left the cult. There's some pretty damning statements she's made in that. She says, then down here they've put, Miranda and James Derrick, your friends and family are worried for your safety. It's okay to come home. It's okay to leave. This was on the 13th of the 8th. US attorneys, please indict and arrest Robert Shinn. We won't stop fighting until everyone is free and Robert Shinn is in prison. Then she's made statements here about Shin's lawyers. And then, so they've added more evidence to show she's still going. No more big pimpin', Roberto. Robert Shin received a notice of forfeiture in a letter on the September 9th. So, here, on the 31st of the 12th, she said, Robert Shin, Miranda and James Derrick ordered to appear in person in Minnesota for pre-trial hearing or case dismissed. The order came down today after Robert Shin attempted to hold me in contempt for violating a court order that he's failed to comply with. In court today, my attorney told the judge after almost 4 years, Robert Miranda James had failed to provide any evidence of damages and continues to withhold evidence that was ordered to be turned over in June 2024. Robert attempted to have the judge assign a special master to my discovery to manage my business discovery. A request was denied by the judge. We asked for sanctions for spoliation of evidence due to Miranda and James deleting their social media. We requested that discovery be reopened and for depositions to be subpoenaed for Hannah Shin, Robert Shin and Shirley Kim. We demanded they provide us financial and bank records to prove their damages. They asked the judge to hold me in contempt for not giving my tax returns to them, despite them not providing any financial records to us. But they only needed to show 7M's financial records. You didn't need personal records. You were ordered by the judge to do it. The judge appears fed up with Robert's constant motions, delays and frivolous motions for temporary injunctions and contempt against me. Due to Robert dragging his feet, refusing to unseal discovery so I can prepare a defence, the judge has demanded Robert appear in court on February 9th, 2026. So that's the stuff that they've added. I mean, sure, I mean, for me, for judgment in exceeding $1 million, to me, she doesn't know any of that. How does she know they're seeing friends or family? Well, that's right. And that's the point. How does she know? We have to get Katie Joy for a twist. She intimidated her. Amber was mean to her. Now, this is interesting. I'm on camera sometimes, but after the release of the Netflix docs that I worked on in the summer of 2024, I was swatted. And the police were here several times. I had to file a report with the FBI because they also filed a false report against me with the FBI. I'm also being sued by the subject of that documentary, and he's under investigation for sex trafficking and related crimes. We still don't know who made all the reports. But until this is resolved, I've been laying low. I do hope there'll be federal charges soon. The feds have until April 2026 to charge him or file a forfeiture complaint to recover the money they seized in July 2025 raid. I don't know if he was involved in any of the events that transpired in the summer of 2024, but I do know that he won't drop his lawsuit against me and I have to go to court in a few weeks. He's ordered to be there, which I don't know if he will show up. Alison isn't part of Shekinah. She's been seen socially with her. Well, yeah, and I thought I saw some TikToks, some social media just recently about it. Back in April 2022, Katie Joy bragged that her insurance was going to cover her lawsuit. I have insurance. I do know what I'm doing. This isn't my first rodeo, she said. Oh dear. I'm so and then Miss Balls says, remember when Katie Joyce and Miranda's signature on their marriage certificate was forged? Well, look what this sack found. Em posted a painting she did of James, and would you look at that, both signatures match perfectly. So, I mean, how does she explain is she saying that at the time she was saying that because she was dying on that hill that it was false? So anyway. What is this? Did she say Google AI also tried to tell me today that ADHD and narcissism is the same to me, and I got all sassy and AI apologized. What on earth? So anyway, that's all this. As I said, I'm hoping to come back. I've got to come back and look at the court filings because I'm interested to see what's been filed. But yes, so that's her interpretation of what happened. But she seems to have forgotten. I don't know why my camera's not working, by the way. Don't know what's happened here. What's happened to my camera? We'll try this one. No. My camera's gone. Hopefully you can hear me. Can you still hear me? Oh, there we go. That works better. Oh, why isn't that working? Oh, there we go. Hello. I just have no idea what... I mean, if I was her lawyer, I'd be telling her not to talk at all. Because, again, we don't see the Derricks or Robert Shing, you know, giving their side of it. They just stay silent. So anyway, so on that though, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you for hanging out with me. I needed to just address this video. So I'm hoping maybe I'll come back tomorrow and we can have a chat and look at some of the court records, and I'll try and get back into more regular programming again. Thank you. Yeah, I've lost 19 kilos. Let me tell you what that is in... It's 2.99 stone for those of you at home. 1 stone is the equivalent to 6.35 kilos. So yes, I've lost the equivalent of 2 stone. Doesn't sound like much, does it? Yeah. So I'm currently 11 stone down from I was 14 stone, I'm down to 11 stone. So yeah, so I've lost 19 kilos. I'm starting to feel good. I think what I have noticed though is that I'm having to get smaller sizes in clothes, but I've noticed that t-shirts shrink. The smaller I go in size for t-shirts, the smaller they get. They don't seem to cover, they only seem to cover half of, they just go down the, you know, like they show a lot of the tummy. So I don't like that. I'm having trouble finding clothes. So anyway. Yeah, so look, I'll come back tomorrow night and we'll have another chat, and hopefully we'll see what happens with all of this, because it's fascinating. I've stayed away. There's some other court stuff going around the place as well. Yeah, there's all sorts of stuff going on. So yeah, and I've started a cleaning business. I'm just trying to get some clients established, and with my car out of action, I've got to see if I need to probably get I've got to try and get like an SUV type car, and I've got to see if I can get a business loan for that. But the business, like I'm very time poor at the moment, and so I can't, I've got a very short space of where I can fit people in, but I am getting some jobs, and I had my first complaint today, but it doesn't make any sense because they signed off that they were happy with the job. So anyway, I don't know. Because what I do that's unique for it is that I will get them to walk through and I take them through everything and I explain what I've done. I get them to have a look and I get them to tell me if there's any issues, if I've missed anything, and I just walk them through, and sometimes I'll say, oh look, there's still a bit of dust on there or whatever, and I'll that way I fix it up. I fix it up when I'm there. But this was 2 or 3 days later, and so I'm a bit suspicious about it. But in all of my years of cleaning, I've never had anybody complain, but it was just really weird. But anyway, and I just said, look, you signed off on it. Oh, I didn't see that stuff. Well, that's funny. They reckon they had to sweep their floor, and I had actually vacuumed the floor and mopped the floor. So if there was anything on the floor, it would have come up with the mop. But anyway, let them think what they want. But yeah, so I'm in the process. So if you're in Australia, if you're in Melbourne and you know somebody need a cleaner, please reach out to me, because I'm needing some help, and I'm hoping to put people on too. That's my goal. And I want to get to the point where once a week I do a free clean for a vulnerable person. That's what I'd like to do eventually. So to build up, so I can do a free clean Friday or something, where it takes a group of people in to clean somebody's house that needs it clean. That's my ultimate thing. But at the moment, yeah, I'm just trying to find cars. So yeah, because I've only got the car till Saturday, but the problem is that if I want to keep the car, it's $70 a day, which is really quite expensive. So I think it's expensive. So I've got to work out what I'm going to do after Sunday, but I haven't heard what they're doing with my car yet, whether it's a write-off or not. So anyway, thank you for joining me. Yeah, say hello in the comments. As I said, hopefully I'll be back a little bit more. I might, but yes, I'm showing my face. I think a lot of people have said my face is thinned out. I can't actually see the weight loss. When I look at myself, I still see myself as the same person. The only way that I know that I have lost weight is that my clothes don't fit. They're too big. And in fact, some clothes that were too small for me are now fitting. That's the only way that I know that I've lost weight. And I also know when I go for my monthly checks. They're the two ways that I know. But other than that, I just see myself as normal. But people have said that I look good. My RAV4 is nearly 20 years old and has cost me very little maintenance. Well, that's the thing, Michelle. Toyotas are one of the few cars that actually hold their value. Because even the 20-year-old RAV4s are around the 10 grand, 12 grand mark. They do. I mean, Toyotas very much hold their value. I've been looking at some RAV4s. I've been looking at a couple of Fords, because Fords also hold their. And don't tell me Holden, because I'm not. I'm a Ford girl. The best is when you put on something that was too small and then something too big. Yes, well, that's also starting to happen as well. I had a pair of pants that didn't fit me, and then they fitted me, and I walked down the stairs, and by the time I got down the stairs, they were around my ankle. I didn't realise they were that loose. And I thought, well, that's good, just as well I was in my house empty, because that was a bit of a sight, getting down the bottom of the stairs and finding that the 3/4 pants I'd put on is currently now down around my ankles. That was hilarious. So anyway, yeah. So I'm definitely looking at cars. Love Toyota, even when I worked. So because I had a Kia, I had a Kia Rio, a 2010 Kia Rio, which. It's cost me a fortune to maintain. It's cost me a fortune as it's gotten older, but it's been very reliable. So, and I want a car that's done less than 150 k's, 150,000 k's, which is still, when you get to the 150,000 k mark, it's deemed to be high. You get to high mileage. So, which is 93,000 miles. Yeah. Believe Hyundai. Yeah, Hyundai's have got some good SUVs. Yeah, so I'm sort of looking for a mini SUV, but what I'm looking at the moment is I'm looking at a Ford EcoSport actually, and the reason why I'm looking at an EcoSport and is because their boot's open to the side. Now, why would I need a boot open why would a boot opening to the side be beneficial for me? It's because I have a height issue. If I have to open a boot, it can be too high. Unless it's a modern car that has those foot pedals, like my mum's got. My parents just bought a new Honda, and my mum's short, and she doesn't like hatches because she couldn't reach, but they've got a foot pedal now, so she just puts her foot under it, and like it's great. But the reason why I like the eSport is because of the sideway, and I know some of the older model RAVs do that as well. So if you don't know what an eSport looks like, let me just show you one just before we go. And again, they also keep their value. So there's some older model ones. So this is this, for example, is a 2016 one. So it's got the sideways. Oh, it hasn't done it. It's got the sideways opening, so it's got the sideway boot opening, so it opens at the side. So that's ideal when you're a shorty like me. But yes, some of the older RAVs have it. So, and this one I think has low miles, if I remember rightly. Because as I said, I'm a bit being a bit, I don't want something with 200 or something. Yours does, yes. Yeah. So yeah, the early model RAVs open to the side. So and again, that would be benefit to me. Let's have a look, see if I can find some RAVs. But see, new, you're looking at about 24,000 to anywhere, like this is what I mean about value, right? A good value. So, for example, you've got here a 2023 RAV4 going for 40,000, right here. But then you've got a 2018 one going for 24,000, 2018 going for 32. I mean, I know it depends on Ks. 2020 for 35. A 2016, like I'd be looking at something around 2016. That's 24,000. So they keep their age really well. They keep their value really well. The RAVs. Is it 2019? 31,000. So yeah, so Toyotas, and we used to build Toyotas here. Where in the area that I live, we used to have the Toyota factory, but unfortunately, car manufacturing got destroyed in Australia. There's a 2015 RAV, 19,000. So it's a case of, do I put together and buy a model, or do I try and get the money and buy the new one? This is what I've got to decide. What do I do? So I'm going to just click on the low price. I want to look at the low price RAV4. Let's look at what the cheapest RAV4 is in Australia at the moment. So this is a 1995 RAV4, 2,500, 1999. 2008, 2002, 2003. See, they're all still going. They are actually, I did some research, and the number one car that they said for secondhand. The best secondhand car, they actually said, was the Toyota RAVs. So there you go. So I've been looking. I have actually been looking. So yes, these are 2003. So, you know, 6,000, 2009. And like these have done 314,000. At least look at demos if you want, they depreciate. Well, that's right. Well, that's true. I mean, I had my car since new for 16 years, and I'm only going to get 3,700 for it. There's a 1996 RAV4, and I bought it new. I think I paid $14,990 for it, and it's only worth 4,000. You know, just under 4,000 now. So that's really devastating for me. But anyway. Oh, look, there's a manual one. I wouldn't mind. I don't mind manuals either. That's a 2010 RAV4, so that's about the same age as my car. 2010. When you think about it, I mean, Toyota actually were pretty good because they actually had the Prius, which was the first hybrid car that ever came out. So they had hybrid cars before it was cool. Here's a 2012 RAV4. So I'm looking probably for, if I was going to buy it, I'm looking for something around the 2016, if I could get something around the 2016. Yeah, I know, Toyota's a good vehicle, so particularly the ones that are made in Australia too. That's a bonus if I could get an Australian one, because the new ones aren't. We also had the Ford factory here and a Holden factory here as well. Yours is 2010? Yeah. Yeah, I had a 2010, so this would be similar to yours then. This is a Toyota RAV4. This one. Oh yeah, the side opening. Yeah. Nice. Another one. So yeah, 300,000. So anyway, yeah, so that's anyway, that's on my list to do as well. So there's so much happening for me at the moment. I'm just trying to, you know, keep up with everything at the moment. So anyway, all right, well, I am going to head off. Thank you for watching. Please as I said, hopefully I'll come back tomorrow and we'll discuss some more of this. But thank you all for watching, and I will catch you again next time. Please, if you could hit like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye for now.